Oh, lads. Oh shit. We have a game. We have a game. Please tell me we can see the top player's cards. Please tell me we can see the top player's cards. Okay. You guys, I don't have a camera on, so you can't see, but I'm currently dabbing. I'm dabbing. Right. So, I mean, to be honest, this quality is quite poor, but that's okay. Alright, what do we have here? We have... So it's the mere flash, huh? Against... Is it Liar? Okay. Using the decayed tokens plus deadly dispute for a little bit of ramp. I see what's up. I see what's up. Top guys' quality is better. Can you switch them? I mean, I would love to, man. I really would. I promise you, I would love to. But that is the type of midstream change that a team of people can probably make. I am just one guy. I don't think I can do that. I apologize that we are watching the lesser of the two quality streams. However, if you bear with me, hopefully it's still an enjoyable experience. It's because of how I would have to do that in OBS, it would take too long. We would miss half the match. I mean, I can do that, but we would miss half the match by the time it's done. Because I'd have to recrop everything. This is the first time I'm getting to see the amalgam, but it looks kind of terrible here, right? There's nothing to exploit to counter. It's just a 4/3 4-mana 3/3 flash. Okay. You hate to get your windfall countered, don't you? That is the downside of running cards like that. If they resolve, they're like super sick, but if it gets countered, it's horrible. Okay, we've got something to sack to the exploit to actually get counter going. Syncopate is a great card, yeah. This is a bit awkward. You kind of want to Deadly Dispute so that you have mana for your Horror, right? But if you do that, then obviously you're turning off your Amalgams again. Another Syncopate is nice. You can eye twitch. Alright, okay, this Dimir deck looks pretty good. Eye twitch, and now you're holding up the exploit counter spell or the horror. Which seems really good. You could counter the Field of Ruin ability. Wow. Honestly, that would be sick. I think that could have been worth it. I think that could have been worth it, man. I guess he wants to protect the dispute, but meh. That seems like a... But I guess countering it is kind of worth. Because if you counter this, you're going to get another treasure from the dispute, and you've got what, an X equals 1 syncopate available as well. You also stop them getting the learn card. That's pretty good. I don't mind this play. It's definitely not the best use of the counter spell, but the amalgam. But you need to get something on board, right? Like you're playing this tempo deck, you need to get to attacking before liars and stuff start taking over. Obviously, Eliphas doesn't know that Nick has a Fading Hope here, but being able to counter this Fading Hope is pretty decent. Although, I mean, I don't think... I guess Fading Hope is actually not very good against this Dimir deck, huh? But you've got Ghasts and Jadars and stuff, where Fading Hope is whatever. You don't really want to bounce the Amalgam. So the Fading Hopes from Nick are probably mostly going to get used on Horrors or to protect his own liars. Stinger. Okay, I'm not sure I like this Stinger. In this deck, like, you really don't have that many sackable creatures, right? And I think you want to... I don't think you want to go overboard on the exploit cards. Because if you start sacking even more to the Stingers, you're going to end up having these amalgams in your hand with no targets, right? Obviously the Horror is just nasty here. All right, we've got one Lear versus one deck. Who wins, a card or a deck? It's a good card though. Got Fading Hope and Hazard. Or two Fading Hopes? No, that's two Consider as well. One Hazard, two Consider, one Hope. Okay. I mean, to be honest, the Hullbreaker Horror for Eliphas is kind of unusable until Liar's gone, right? And there's no cards in hand that get rid of the Liar. Although, yeah, I think Eliphas pretty much wants to get this amalgam down as soon as possible and just force out the Fading Hopes and the Divide by Zeros on these flyers. So that you can either Smork for the win or get a path for the Horror to get in play. Stinger pretty good here, actually. Although I guess not that good actually, because you've only got 5 mana available. You really want 6, right? For Amalgam and X equals 1 Syncopate. Alright, Liar gets a turn. Start with Consider, seems reasonable. Okay, a removal spell on the Amalgam, much better than a bounce. That's actually a thing about Amalgam that I didn't really consider that actually. That it's super good against like Fade and Hope, right? I mean they don't, your opponent does not want to Fade and Hope the Amalgam. To be honest, this deck is really good against Fade and Hope, apart from the Horror. Yeah, so now yes, this is what I expected to see. Just slam the flyers, force out all the removal spells, the bought back removal spells from the Leer. So Horror looks kind of awful here, right? The good thing is opponent's like next deck is very slow, so you actually do have enough time, probably, to just slam all of your other cards and force out these removal spells. I mean, Eliphas needs to add a removal spell to his goddamn deck. That would be a good start. Not being able to remove a liar is scuffed. Agadeem's just gas as usual. No divide by zero available for Nick. Which could be a massive mistake. I think he could have played his turn to hold that up. Stinger is nice with Agadeems, huh? Agadeems get your 1, 2, 3, 4s back and sack the 1-drop to the Stinger when it comes into play. That's pretty pog. Oof. It being a trigger though, gives Nick time to hazard. Alright. X equals 1 syncopate. I'm not sure. I'm not sure the Izzet deck can. I'm not sure Nick's deck here can hold this off, man. Especially if his removal is mostly these bounce effects, which most of the Izzet decks are, right? They're like 4 divide by 0, 4 fade and hope, and then a few hard removals. And this flash deck is just so good against those cards. New card? 3 mana, 2/1, draw a card. Okay. Am I insane, or does that card have to be terrible, right? There's no way that's good. Alright, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10 mana. This Syncopate is useless. Fade and Hope and Divide by 0 are up. I get there's not really, again, there's not really any targets for it, right? Slamming the Horror. I cast Divide by 0. Smile. Wait, they cast the one from hand? Why the one from hand? Sure, you want to cast the one from the graveyard, right? In case your liar dies. Yep. 7-drop gets bounced. Classic. Okay, so honestly, the horror seems like the worst card in their deck, man. Ooh. Opponent horror, but only 1 mana available? Yeah, and you basically have to bounce this amalgam? Yikes. So what can you do here? If you cast your own horror, you've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you've got 11 mana. You've got 5 damage on board. You do have horror, or you've got your own amalgam, which can counter an ability, right? So you can counter the bounce from Nick's horror when they cast this whatever 1 mana spell they're going to cast here. Which is going to be Fade and Hope, right? Wow. Wait. Did it... What's the Fade and Hope targeting? Are both of these bounce effects both targeting the amalgam? I think they are, right? I think you do X equals 0, right? Yeah. X equals 0. That was GG. Because you also have the make 2 tokens. Pest Summoning in hand, which can bounce the horror. The horror mirrors are quite confusing, huh? Alright chat, we're going to move to the sideboarding screen. We should be able to see both players sideboarding. Confirm. Can you please confirm this? Alright, so I mean it's a blue mirror, isn't it? So I guess the sideboarding plan from both players is bring in their blue cards and take out their not blue cards. You do need to make sure you've got enough removal for these horrors though. Like the horrors are a bit scuffed actually. The horrors will not be as impactful in this matchup as they will be in most of the blue mirrors because Eliphas is playing more of a tempo deck. So it's a lot more difficult for the players to get the horrors down and stick them on both sides, but still impactful enough that you want to play them, obviously. They're just not, they're not the hammer blow that they would be in some other blue mirrors. Alright, chat. I mean, this is the type of matchup that Eliphas wants, right? He wants to play against other blue decks. He doesn't want to play against like mono white, right? Perfect matchup for him. Tough first match for Nick. Nick's deck seems quite well rounded though. It's not really It's not really leaning in too hard to the anti-aggro, it's not leaning in too hard to the anti-blue cards. Main deck seemed quite reasonable, to be honest. I don't mind this deck at all. I don't know about the 3 mana 2/1, the new card that draws, but that seems a little greedy. But maybe it's okay. It's not an awful card, it's just it's hard to cast, right, in those type of decks, man. It's hard to find that 3 mana, that spare 3 mana to cast that and still be able to interact with your opponent's turn. Okay, this hand's just horrible. This hand's just good. Bad hand? No, this is okay. You've got some early threats. I mean, eye twitch is not a massive threat, obviously, but in a post-sideboard blue mirror, it'll get in for a lot of damage. Duress, Stroke, and Syncopate. Yeah, it looks like this unexpected windfall from Nick is just going to get countered again. It just feels so bad to get that countered. Alright, Eliphaz's hand is kind of decent here. I guess like these spells are good, but you kind of want a better... You want a better threat than an eye twitch, huh? So the Wandering Mind actually seems quite good after sideboard. Because you can quite happily, in the blue mirrors anyway, you can quite happily just slam it after sideboard. Because you're not going to do anything too obnoxious. It's just possibly a little weak in game 1. In some matchups, but it seems fine here. After sideboard at least. Yeah, I mean, this looks good for Nick. Got a bunch of card draw spells here, and Eliphaz just has no threat. Eliphaz needs a creature, man. That is the type of matchup where one decent creature can be enough to win the game. But need one. Yep, Syncopate used on the Deluge, so takes away, exiles it, can't use the flashback side. Nick does manage to find a window to get the windfall down, which is good. Eliphaz drew a creature, but see, this is the type of place where the amalgam looks kind of yikes. I mean, you can flash it in, but go for a block. You turn on the sorcery speed removal, which Nick does have on off, but you're just going to lose this amalgam to instant speed removal most of the time anyway, so I think it's okay to go for this block. Does Nick have a Fade and Hope in the graveyard? Because Nick could have let that attack go through and then played Liar, right? Liar, Liar Spike Field to finish off the Amalgam. And we'd still have 1 mana up if there's any Fading Hopes in there, but I don't think there is. Because that did seem like the window to get the Liar down. Yeah, I think he might have missed his shot there. Eye Twitch kind of gas here. Okay, just top deck another one. No big deal. It's kind of fine, isn't it? I don't see how Eliphas comes back in this game, man. Like, you can kill the Liar, but don't have much after that. No manlands on either side of the board right now. You're going to 5, they have a 2-1 flyer. I mean, another Eye Twitch is kind of sick, though. You go to 5, your Sciences puts you to 7. You'll have 6 lands, so you can start considering taking a mascot exhibition from this next Eye Twitch. So, yeah, maybe he's okay. Maybe he's okay. Another creature is good. The Hermit. I mean, the Hermit is super good, but not as relevant here as it could be, but still decent. Yeah, this 2-1 flyer just is not dying. It seems a lot better, as I said, in game 2 and 3 than it is in game 1, but it does seem decent. I like that it's got a stat line that can trade with a Hermit, the flying side of the Hermit. The 1 toughness is kind of yikes in a Shambling Ghast meta, in a Spikefield Hazard meta, but hey, it has got in for a significant amount of damage in this game. Divide by 0 is good draw. This game is going to be close, man. I think this 2-1 might go the whole way. I think it's going the distance, guys. By the way, the +2/+2 and Vigilance Lesson would be lethal here. Start from scratch is lethal here. Yeah, that's game, right? The 3 mana 2-1 on curve attacks for like 20 damage. Wandering Mind. Like, I don't know how much damage it dealt, but it was not far off 20. What do we have here? I think Eliphas just he has too many blue cards, man. You got 2 Infernal Grasp, 2 Soul Shatter. Don't know what to play instead though. Like I don't know about cutting the shambling gas. I think the gas are good. You need the ghasts, right? You need the ghasts and the eye twitches because you need sackable creatures for your amalgam, your stinger. I guess you're getting some from your Sedgemoor witches, but okay, this is a banger of a hand. The old Ghast dispute start. This could be a turn 4 Hullbreaker Horror. Potentially. Wow. That's quite nasty, huh? What's Nick got? A divide by 0. 2 divide by 0. Some draw and some lands. Okay, it's also... I mean, that is a fine hand for the matchup, but it's a pretty terrible hand against Eliphas's hand, though. Like, Nick will be happy with that hand, but it's not going to work out for him. So far. Yeah, I mean, these cards just cost too much mana, dude. So clunky. At least the divide by zeros will stop an attempt from Eliphas to like kind of cheat out this horror using all these treasures. So in that way it'll be decent. But maybe Eliphas doesn't go for that. Thinking about taking the 1/1s, huh? Or maybe the draw spell, but... Dude, I wouldn't be against taking the 2 1/1s here. Get in. That's 4-1. If you have 4 1/1s in play in game 3 of a blue mirror, you can just smirk, man. Boo! Boo! He needs blue? Oh, he's getting a treasure and drawn 2 cards, right? No smarking today, chat. Test of Talents, nice. Village Rites also nice, of course. Probably just cast the Environmental Sciences, right? You do want to keep making... Every land drop that you can make while getting to keep this Agadeem's in hand is like sick, right? You really don't want to have to place this Agadeem's as a land just because it's such a resource critical matchup. Yeah, I mean, Nick's hand is just so clunky, man. 3 divide by zeros that are gonna learn and draw other clunky cards. This Consider has to hit a banger here. Okay, not bad. Not bad at all. Consider, discard a Deluge, get a Fade and Hope and a Syncopate. Another good draw for Eliphas. So lucky, by the way. Actual Luck Lord. This is looking good for LFS, I think. Don't sleep on the 2 damage a turn from a Shambling Ghast, by the way. From the Shambling Ghasts. Down to 12. Down to 12 with almost no way to interact with the board. I divide by 0 your Shambling Ghast. Smile. That is a good test of talents, or is it? I mean, actually, it's maybe a terrible test of talents. Nick. Maybe Nick will not be upset at getting to redraw 2 cards here, honestly. Because his hand fucking sucks. What do we think, chat? Who is this test of talents better for? It honestly might be better for Nick. Because Nick's hand right now loses the game. So any redraws are good. Like, Nick can't do anything, man. Look at his shitty hand. It's kind of... Yeah, I guess Eliphas doesn't quite have enough mana to get the Amalgam down on this turn, though. Unless Nick kills one of the Ghasts with, like, not a Spikefield hazard. Yeah, I did, like, right. Now we're chilling, man. We've got our big 7-drop. Got a Windfall to make some treasures to get there. Much better. I really think that was actually a real choice for Eliphas to make there on whether to exile the divides. It is quite possible that a random card off the top of Nick's deck is actually better than those divides in hand. Obviously, these 2 cards that is drawn here are better than divides, but you're not going to hit a Windfall and a Horror every time, to be fair. Okay, so he does have to play the Agadeems as a land, which kind of sucks. That these Syncopates on Memory Deluge, just so good, man, because of the exile part. What a card. What a card, Syncopate. That's gotta be a counter. Here comes the Amalgam, baby. You can even make a treasure and Village Rites the other Ghast if you want. Although honestly the 1 damage is just kind of good too. 1 damage actually speeds up the clock. Now you have Horror and Village Rites the Ghast to bounce a spell. GG's. Round of applause for Eliphas. That's a dub. That's a dub. No 2-1 equals loss. Yeah, I mean that's how the Blue Mirrors go though, right? Like threats after sideboard are just so premium and they win the games, and that is why... I mean, that's really why the tempo decks are favoured against the control decks, right? In those matchups. Because they just inherently have better threats for the post-sideboard games built into the deck. Okay. I have the round 2 matches available. The feature match is going to be... It's going to be Seth Raman on mono white aggro versus Rekimaru Boys on Azorius Control. Seth Raman and Rekimaru Boys, please enter the feature waiting channel. Mods, please put Ricky in feature 2 because I don't trust him. So he's gone at the top of the screen. He's not been on the main screen. We have a game. We are live with round 2. We have Azorius Ricorius. Azorius Ricorius versus a very tough opponent in mono white. The toughest opponent, you might say. So let's see how Ricorius stands up. Multi 6, but on the draw, got a 1-drop here. Good, decent curve for mono white if they can. They need to find a third land though. Third land required. The Doomscar. The Doomscar Foretell is going to get underneath the Spellbinder. Uh-oh. Oh no. Oh no. Classic Ricorius. Gets underneath the Spellbinder. Ramen Noodlebug has... I mean, the Sentinel is a decent follow-up, but... I mean, the Sentinel just gets cock blocked by the judge, right? 4/4, by the way. Although, at least the judge is a target for the apparition. So not over by any means, but Ricky also has too much white mana, right? Like, it can't hold up the saw it coming? No? Basically locked into playing the judge, and now the judge gets taxed, and now it's a bit of a yikes. Okay. Found an untapped land, at least. I don't it's not impossible for the white player to win here. Gets in for 7, man. Gets in for 7. Puts Ricky to 7. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Ricky boy! Your life total is 7. You're facing down the threat of 7 damage. Uh-oh. Spooky. 4/4 is good though. 4/4 is solid. The judge is sick, right? 4/4 flyer, man. Jeez. The counter spells are looking pretty terrible at the moment, but I mean, they always do against mono white. Okay, that is an obvious game to it. Ricky's deck should get better after sideboard here, though, once they can get rid of all these terrible counter spells. Guys, it's just the, like, it's not the stream quality that's bad, it's the Discord, like, screen share quality, right? Like, that was, there's nothing I can really do about that, that just depends on the players themselves' connection. It's the same reason why the quality is, like, scuffed in the normal, like, the quality is even scuffed on the Magic channel, the official Magic channel tournaments, right? There's actually nothing that you can really do about it, I don't think. It was the whole screen? Alright, okay. But the issue before was that I didn't realise it was my stream. I've not been dropping any frames though. Okay, sideboarding. I mean, the blue-white deck just got to get rid of all these garbage counter spells, bring in a bit more removal. The white deck has the flash guy that protects. He's pretty sick. Don't know how much complaining it'll take before Wizards add a spectator mode, but clearly we haven't complained enough. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying my best, guys, with what I have on offer here. Revelry is pretty gas. 2 mana, make 2 tokens, draw a card. That is a good card. A lot of the time you'll even get to gain 4 life as well in this matchup, huh? I guess you're not going to be able to get a card draw too often, but the judge on curve is like a serious threat. It takes a while for these aspirants to get out of range. Aspirant is a good way to get past it though, I guess. You have a choice here to just slam another judge or hold up the syncopate. Not being able to do both at once is a little annoying, but I guess you can also beat like you can crack your Field of Ruin and kill a Haven if one is played on turn 3 there. Curse of Silence for Ram and Noodlebug is pretty good. Excuse me. You don't want to have too many counter spells against mono white, but having like 1 or 2 available like you have here is quite good, I think. There's two white sources off being able to use the mastery. Ramen Noodlebug's hand is... it's a little bit awkward. You don't really want to have 2 adversaries against a control deck, because you're very unlikely to have a massive board at any point that actually benefits greatly from the buff. At least it is a creature that can, for 4 mana, can be a 4/2 and can attack into these judges though, which isn't too bad. Ricky's struggling to get this 4 white for the devastating mastery here. Judge Hold Up, Syncopate, and Fade and Hope is not too bad, I guess. I mean, I get the adversaries are good here though. They won't normally be too good against a deck like Blue-White Control, but Rickage's not able to cast these board wipes, so the adversaries are looking good. It seems like a terrible attack into the face-up Fading Hope. That is a choke. Big choke from the white player there. Got a land. You can Tef, untap a land, have Syncopate for 1 open. You know your Syncopate's probably not gonna work out because it's very likely that opponent just replays that adversary again. It's not even bothering with the plus there. F4 is good on a board state like this, but it would normally be quite hard to get a Tef down in a matchup against mono white. It's going to be like almost impossible to get it down if this does go to a game 3 and Raman's on the play. Wow, not going for the adversary buff, huh? Very interesting. Well, I mean, you have access to Doomscar here. You could, because you don't really want to play the Mastery, obviously, because you'll lose your Tef. Excuse me. Looks like Ricky's considering just slamming the Judge down. Going for the 3-turn clock. No. 2-drop, hold up Syncopate. You also get to hold up the Field of Ruin as usual. That looks fine. You probably just untap a Field of Ruin, right? Yep. Just in case there's a Faceless Haven draw. Okay, so this second adversary is pretty sick. You get to buff twice, and you get to go underneath the Syncopate because you only pay once it's in play. Ricky could have used the Syncopate there. The creature would still come into play. You could force attacks of 3 and then it wouldn't get a buff, but I'm not sure that's worth it because you can just let them pay. You'll lose your Tef, of course. Or he probably should have blocked there, I think. Block, and then I would just go for the Mastery, honestly. Clear the entire board. Take the 2 life off the lifelinker, because I think we'll probably have to... Maybe the Fateful Absence changes things, but... There was a lot of top decks there for Ricky that would force him into casting the Devastating Mastery anyway. So then that would essentially have just been 2 missed life. But I guess Fateful Absence on that 5-3 adversary could allow a block to get him. Okay, not bad. Ramen Noodlebug needs some good top decks here, though. Chaplain. Chaplain and a removal spell is not so hot. Now we can just slam the thing, right? Yeah. The other side of the judge. So this is a 7 mana enchantment that basically is just a 3 mana clock, right? Once it gets a counter every turn, and once it gets 3 counters, the game is over. So this looks really bad for Ramen Noodlebug, and unless there's some enchantment removal that we don't know about, they basically have to win the game in the next 3 turns. And let me tell you, Fateful Absence is not going to help you win the game in 3 turns. Adeline is. Adeline can help you win the game in 3 turns. A lot of tools for CROKEYZ here, though. Syncope and Fateful Absence both up. Just got to survive for 2 turns and basically win. Yeah, it's actually quite bad for Ricky that Ramen Noodlebug's not been drawn any havens. I mean, it's bad for Ramen Noodlebug now that there's no havens, but I guess even if they had some, because they're on this clock, even if they had some, they would just get Field of Ruined, right? Yep, just not going to get that damage through in time, man. This is going to be a win for the judge. Order! Order! I sentence you to death. Card is just so good, the judge card, man. You get a 3 mana 4/4. A 3 mana 4/4 flying blocker. And then you just get a 7 mana aura that actually wins the game faster. There's that other 7 mana like historic spell, right? That people sometimes try and make work. I mean, this is a better version of that, tapped onto a 3 mana 4/4 flying blocker. It's just sick. What a card. Yeah, Approach of the Second Sun, yeah. It's a better version of that card attached to a 3 mana 4/4 flyer. You can see like how relevant it is here, right? Like without that clock from the judge, I mean the mono white player could have won this game, but just can't get the damage in time. We go to game 3, chat. Let's see if there's any additional sideboarding happening. So does the mono white player have access to anything to actually destroy that enchantment once it's in play? Doesn't look like it, huh? Not even got anything in the sideboard that they could play. That's rough. Oh, they could play Apparition, of course, yeah. Alright, let's go to game 3. Mono white on the play this time, so a lot harder to get. The creature side of the judge still sick here on the draw, but the aura side, a lot more difficult to make work. No blue mana for Ricky. A lot of lands for Ramen Noodlebug, but a good curve, and you've got the Paladin class that you can sink mana into, so not a massive problem to have a ton of lands there. You just need to stick some of these creatures to make use of the Paladin class. You're swinging for 3 this turn, you're swinging for 7 next turn with the Adeline if you want to commit the Adeline. You might be a bit scared to play the Adeline next turn though because of the Foretold card, which you could expect to be Doomscar. It's not Doomscar, but they don't know that, of course. Especially when you have an alternative play of just pumping the Paladin class. Although, if it was Doomscar, then Ricky would probably Doomscar this board, right? So maybe you just slam the Adeline anyway. Although, maybe you don't slam the Adeline in that spot, because, again, if it was Doomscar, Ricky probably would have Doomscarred, which means the only other card it can be is Saw It Coming. So the mono white player should probably know that that is a Saw It Coming and not a Doomscar by this point. I mean, they probably knew it was that last turn, honestly, but definitely now after the student cost devastating mastery. Alright, so what do you keep? You get to choose 2 non-land permanents. I mean, you'd love to keep the Paladin class, but you just have to keep 2 creatures, man. With this hand that you've got right now, just 2 planes. Yeah, you've got to keep 2 creatures, and it's got to be 2 that you can both cast next turn, so it's got to be the Sentinel and one of the 3-drops, which he chooses. Good choice by the white player there. Alright, Ricky with 5 mana. Okay. Judge top deck is nice, because I think you were going to be forced into playing the 5 mana Judge anyway, but now you can play the 3 mana Judge, hold up the counter spell. Saw It Coming a lot better against these adversaries than the Syncopates are, right? Because the Syncopate can... The adversary can, to some extent, get underneath the Syncopate, like we saw last game. Unfortunately for Ram and Noodlebug here, they know that that's a Saw It Coming, right? Because they know it's not a Doomscar, but they just can't really make any other play. They have to cast this adversary. At least they've got an Aspirant which lets them attack with 1 creature here. It was a very good top deck for them. It's a close game, but... It's a close game. I think this Sentinel is going to get there, isn't it? This Sentinel cannot be stopped. Deluge? Doomscar. It's too late. In my house, 5 + 1 is 6. Ramen Noodlebug just has to find the lethal attack. Well, you can't really miss the lethal attack when you top deck an apparition. that was a very close game 3 there. Alright, GG's. GG's. Here we go. Simic Ramp versus Mono White. Okay, we've got 2 Dollhouse of Horrors, 2 Comas, and no lands. I mull these. This hand is also a bit slow for Mono White, but you've got to keep it, right? You've got your payoff cards here. You've got a nice... The tracker is nice. mulch to find your lands. You probably have to get, yeah, you have to get rid of the dollhouse, man. Dollhouse ain't doing shit here. What about the mono white hand? Aspirant into Spellbinder into Adeline or a Cathar. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, right? I think. Oh, a Thalia draw though. A lot of creatures in Alex's deck and Ghostly Flow's deck though, so you might even want to go for the apparition first. Before the Thalia, because Thalia is not too incredible against the Simic deck. It is mostly creatures at the end of the day, just with these dollhouses and a couple of wrens. Spellbinder just sick as always though. And also, like, the Thalia doesn't really attack into the Simic creatures too well either, right? Like, if that... Playing the Thalia on turn 2 might decide the game. Like, if they just played an Aspirant, it would be a 3-3 here and could attack into the tracker, right? And clear the way for your Adeline tokens coming up too. But now you're just a little bit fucked. At least the Aspirant... The Aspirant can buff the Thalia to a 3-2 and you're attacking him with the first striker. That's pretty cool, but... You need some lands too if you're the mono white guy. Okay, you draw planes, that's what you want to see. Now you've got a tough choice though. Usher and 3-drop or Usher and Aspirant? First strike you can actually get double blocked now. And that Aspirant could have been a 4-4 now, by the way, if it was played on turn 2. Or you could be pumping these Spellbinders. You might think the choice between Thalia and Aspirant is, like, not a big deal, but it absolutely changes how this board looks if they just played the Aspirant on turn 2 there. Absolutely, like, a huge difference. Mind Flayer is kinda sick, but Brutal Cathar for Ozymandias here. Needs a land though, man. Needs to cast this fucking Aspirant, guys. Gotta cast it. A Mind Flayer is just rips the land. No big deal, by the way. Alright, getting in for 6. The mono white Andy is on 10 life already though. Yeah. Wren discarded. Honestly, the Wren discard is pretty bad. The Spider's quite cool in this Simic deck. You can crack the Spider at some point to get a bunch of tokens. But you've got this clue token, but you can't really crack it, right? Because it'll actually make your tracker too weak to attack and block. But of course you can crack it on the opponent's end step, but you've got to wait with it for now. The tracker has been pretty sick in this game though. Gotta be... in reality, this game's not really even been that close, and that was with turn 2 Thalia rather than the turn 2 Aspirant. So it could have been even more one-sided, to be honest. Simic goes to what? Goes to 3? Goes to 4. Gotta crack the clue. I mean, I don't know what you can possibly draw here. Chariot. It's not enough, man. It's not enough. The white weenies... Ozymandias found, like, 2 crucial lands in the mid game there. There's nothing to steal. The flyers are tapped. There's too many threats and not enough life. Sideboard is not insane for mono white, or for playing against mono white. What do we have here? Maybe even something like Scoot Swarm is worth it, honestly. I mean, you've got to play the Scoot Swarm, right? That's your only way to compete with a mono white board. It's not going to overpower mono white for like... It's going to take a long time until you can overpower mono white with the Swarm, but you have to play it, man. You've got to play it. Interesting that mono white's bringing in the Flash Knight. I don't think that's too good here. Taking out Adeline. Wow. Emrith is okay, yeah, it's okay. You can maybe consider even taking some of the Wrens out. I know Wren's quite good with your dollhouse, but I don't think your dollhouse is like your highest priority here. Your high priorities are like your Scoot Swarms, your Trackers, your Chariots, your Cyclone Summoners, your Mana Dorks, you know? I don't think you should be too scared about making your dollhouse a little worse. I don't agree with going down on the Mana Darks. They're so important, man. I know you don't want to cut all this top end, because that's why you're playing the Simic Ramp deck, but I think you just have to get rid of a Dollhouse, a Wren, keep your Mana Dorks, get those Scoot Swarms going. Get that Cyclone Summoner. Make sure you get to cast that Summoner before you're dead. See, there's the Summoner, and there's a Dollhouse. That Dollhouse could have maybe been another Mana Dork, right? Might be game deciding. It's nice to have one, but you need these Mana Dorks, man, so you can play your deck. The mono white hand is like sick again. Needs a third land, finds it again. So lacky, man. So lacky. Simic needs a land. Bricks, dude. Ugh. Bricks. I mean, there's no chance now. It's absolutely over, right? It's over. You're just getting, it's just Spellbinder, Spellbinder, Redain. It's just like, take 1,000,000 damage. So a block, right? Got a block there. It's a fine block, to be honest. Mulch. Okay. Okay. Got some lands, but here come the spellbinders, right? And now you just can't even, you can't even cast your spells anyway. You can draw off the clue though. Maybe you can dodge the spellbinder by whatever you draw off the clue, potentially. You're still, even after you play the pathway next turn, you're still one off playing the chariot. These doggos are about to grow. The Cyclone Summoner though, guys, it's not too far off. There's a Scooty boy. Okay, okay. Got some chompers. We're making our way towards a summoner here. I mean, the summoner is about to cost 9 mana though, which is definitely a Sag. You really want that to cost 7? How many creatures are in the graveyard? After you, if you chump with a Scootsworm, can that get your Taxidermist to a 4/4? Probably not. Take 8 here, and there's 8 in the air next turn though. You have to actually block with the other Scootsworm or you're just dead in the air, right? Wow. Innkeeper keeps you alive with a 1 life from the Scootsworm? You're alive. Go to a casual 1 here as the Simic player. Oh shit, Taxidermist is a 4/4, baby! I mean, I suggest you block the opponent's creatures. Still got a clue draw. There's also a treasure token as well. Is there any... I guess you have to... You crack the clue. You have to draw your other Cyclone Summoner and a land. Eight mana available. So you can play Mind Flayer. You can steal something. Without having to tap the Taxidermist, but it's just not enough, right? Like, you steal Redain. You have 2 ground blockers and a fly-in blocker. But you just die to the other Spellbinder and the 1/1 token. Just dead. Chariot doesn't do anything. GG's. Mono white is a deck. Mono white is a deck. Okay, this is what I see right now, guys. We can at least watch SpongeBob playing his ladder game or whatever he's playing. Oh wait, they're not playing a ladder game. This is the actual match. They're playing. What the hell? But in the middle of the game. That'll probably be why Brandon's not. Brandon, you need to share your screen, man. It's 1-0 to the Geist player already. Dude, what the fuck is going on? Game 2 is almost over. I mean, it's okay. We'll have to deal with this, so. This is the first, like, super scuffed round. It's okay. To be honest, it looks like a Geist Boy is gonna win 2-0 here, guys. Although that is a nighttime caretaker. A swing with the hive is what, 6? That's 9 damage. It's not enough, man. Not enough. Actually, it's only 8 damage, right? To block the trespasser. I am sorry about what we're having to watch in this round, chat. I can't do anything about this, man. The only way to watch games of Magic that you're not playing is via them sharing their screen. And if people don't share their screen, there's absolutely nothing I can do about it. Like, there's nothing I can do. There's no spectator mod. The only way we can watch the games is if people will share their screen. And if they don't do it, then I can't do anything about it. Looks like game over, right? 3 + 3 is 6, GG's. And that's the match done. Geist Boy wins 2-0. And now we have no match to watch for the round. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that round, guys. I don't know. I don't know how to solve that problem. Not on the fly while I'm trying to stream at the same time too. We got a decent, like the first 3 rounds were good at least. Hopefully the next round's good too. Yeah, Elfast, we'll watch your game. Or try to, I guess. Can you see? Detours, question mark? Alright, we've got Eliphas's side of the game here. In his match against what looks like Grix's control. Oh. Okay. Alright, what's going on in this game? Celestis in play, Hermit in play. Eliphas has a hive. Just gonna flash in the 3/3 maybe? Seems a little bit scuffed to do that, but Okay. Shambling Ghast is a nice top deck though. That turns on your exploit stuff for both the Stinger and the Amalgam. So we can only see a face-up Jawari Disruption. Fading Hope on the Ghast. Interesting. I mean, it's still a 3-2 Death Toucher. No manland for the Grixis player. You can just replay the Ghast and you've still got the Amalgam with a good exploit target. Didn't get to get an attack off with a Hive though, which is a bit annoying. Didn't get to play the Hermit, which is a bit annoying. The game really needs spectator mod? Yeah, of course, man. We've been asking for that for years, though. For years. I don't think they've even begun development of it, and it's quite like a complex thing to add, right? So I wouldn't expect us to ever get it, to be honest. I would be more surprised if we ever got it at any point in the future than if we didn't. Alright, Liar is obviously a must try encounter. I guess if they have to cast a spell to protect or if they beat the counter spell here, they're probably tapped out and you can just Soul Shatter anyway. So very unlikely that this Liar gets to stick around. The counter just works. You top deck a Syncopate. You swing for 9. Although activating the manland actually turns your Syncopate off, right? For a lot of spells, so I mean, Eliphas just like auto-attacked with the Hive there, but without thinking about it. But it might have been better just to attack for 6, maybe. But I guess only attacking for 6 is quite a slow clock. You're letting your opponent get Celestis activations. Interesting choice though. What's that? Umbral Duke discarded. Okay. That's quite a good card in this spot, so the Grixis player's hand must be quite powerful in some way. If Umbral Duke's the 3rd worst card. Oofed. Okay. that is a Hullbreaker Horror. That's a good card, chat. And now we don't attack with a Hive. Opponent's on 11. 11 and we're passing with Syncopate and Horror. Hey. I've seen worse spots. Haven Blocker is decent. Blood on the Snow. 3, 4, 5, 6 mana available. You need to X equals 6 Syncopate to counter. You can't bounce it, man. They can recast it. Eliphas? What are you doing? Four mana available for Eliphas, 3 for the opponent. Can pay the 3. Ooh. And Grixis player's getting a Lolth. Well, a Lolth at least. There might be something better in the graveyard. Lolth is just so good here as well against these creatures, right? I pay the 3. I pay the 3? Dude, what? What's going on? So Lolth comes back. Lolth makes tokens. And then Eliphas can horror, shatter the Lolth, bounce one of the tokens, which is still pretty good. Maybe you want to bounce like the Celestus, because that'll make it more difficult to draw cards off of that draw spell. Not impossible, obviously, but more difficult. Okay, that's an instant attack for 4. Pretty spooky. Top deck blood on the snow. Oh no! It's all falling apart, chat. It's falling apart. Gets the Lolth back, kills the Horror and draws 2. Makes 2 blockers, can block the manland. I mean, you can attack with a Hive after your grasp. You also get to cast the Eye Twitch, which is okay, I guess, but... I mean, there's a Haven on the other side of the board, right? And that 2/1 token is no joke either. Eliphas is on 11, the Grixis player like can swing for 6 on board, at least. Maybe better to play the Eye Twitch there instead of the Geist, because... I mean, the Eye Twitch is going to get you, what's it called? A mascot exhibition, right? That's a Tibalt. There's a Tibalt in play. That's a Fell Stinger off the Tibalt. Sack your token, drain 1, draw 2. Seems good. I mean, this, like... I thought this game was over, I thought Eliphas had won, but now it's, like, no shot. Easy exploit, draw 2. Lose 2, though. Go to 13. Still got 3 mana available somehow after all that. You can attack Tibalt for 5. Play Eye Twitch. It is a bit of a yikes situation, guys. There's 2 liars in the graveyard though, so maybe, hopefully that's all of the liars. Although, I mean, if Eliphas is removing the spells, I guess there might be a 3rd liar available as well. There's a Field of Ruin for your Hive, and your opponent's still got their own Haven as well. Not to mention the fucking Tibalt that's in play, which is quite relevant. Right, on board, Eliphas is swinging for 3. That's another Blood in the Snow. Did he just yoink a Field of Ruin? Okay. That is a Blood on the Snow, get a liar back. Seems good. Tap the Haven though. So can't attack for 4 when the opponent's on 8. Classic Gandalf gameplay there. Discard 2. Jesus, man. I think Grixis will win this particular game. I think we're going to a game 3, chat. Although, we go to game 3. We go to game 3 here. So they have what? They have Liar, Lolth, Tybalt. I mean, to be honest, I would just play that other Soul Shatter as well. Two Grasp, one Soul Shatter. I think you can play one Grasp, two Soul Shatter, right? But Elfast's happy with what he's got. Seems like a nutty hand on the play. I Twitch, Jadar, 3 counter spells. I'm down. Are you down, chat? Okay. Stinger plus Jadar combo. I was away for a bit. Why is the screen share different now? The second player hasn't shared their screen, so we can only watch from this match from one perspective. Hopefully we can get back to the two-sided after for the next round. Land has been drawn. So they could... You probably just play the Jadar. They could have a Jawari here. You don't really want to get your Fell Stinger countered. Jadar's already enough of a threat anyway. Even though you're like floating a mana here. Two Field of Ruins and an island? That's kinda scuffed. Alright, so, I mean, Eliphas is just, what, attacking for 4 every turn now? With 3 counter spells to back it up? That seems kinda good. I pass, Smile? These Field of Ruins are, like, horrible, man. Horrible. Divide by 0 Jadar. After it's got its trigger, by the way. Classic. I only use my instant speed spells at the most instant of occasions. Eliphas, man, you're so lucky, dude. What is these top decks? What are these top decks? Syncopate to victory? Looks like it, man. The Grixis player is playing mono blue at the moment, which is really awkward. These divide by zeros, man. I really wish they would cast them before the tokens are on the stack. Like, I'm begging you, opponent. Okay. Got a black source. On 10 facing 4 damage though. That is a liar. That's a bit of a cock block, isn't it, really? That's a problem, man. That's a big, big problem. Three mana, 3/2, draw 2 is absolutely sick, though. Alright, Duress, kind of useless here, but at least you get some you get some hand information. Okay. Actually, Jawari Disruption is a sick hit. You can't play that Jawari as a land, can you? That's pretty much that must be the best hit in the whole deck when there's a liar in play. Which is decent. And I mean the liar player doesn't actually have too much, right? Like they have a fading hope. They're one snowland off of blocking with the Haven. Wow. Didn't play the Valky. They're actually trying to play it as Tibalt. So greedy, man. That is a fading hope on Bell Stinger? What's going on, guys? That's a terrible bounce. That is a horrendous bounce. Right, so you just recast the Stinger and you... Well, I guess... Actually, recasting the Stinger is very expensive, right? Because now this Jawari Disruption can actually counter your counterspell. Even though your counterspell is useless because of Liar, XD, never mind. I take back my statement. The Fell Stinger is actually just insane. And again, I can't believe that they bounced the Fell Stinger. I mean, that's just completely game losing, right? Bouncing that Fell Stinger there. Completely game losing. That's a hookies. Got an Agadeems though. So you get iTwitch card and you get an iTwitch card here, and then you can Agadeems sack the next iTwitch to your Fell Stinger. That's your 6 mana turn, and then you're curving into Exhibition. It's still pretty good here. This is still like super bad for the Liar player at the moment. Not going for the Agadeems? What? Eliphas, what are you doing, man? No. That's a throw. That's a throw. He's holding up his counters and they don't work. Uh-oh. No, he's just realised, man. He's just realised, man. Oh, no, no, no. Now, this pathway gives red for the Tibble. It's falling apart, guys. It's just falling apart. It's so easy to forget that your counter spells get turned off, man. I mean, I forgot to. So the amalgam still works, right? The amalgam can still counter triggers. Even with the liar in play? You can still counter activated or triggered abilities. No? Because it's I'm pretty sure liar says spells can't be countered. You're not countering a spell, right? You're countering an ability. So it should still work. Which could be quite interesting, right? You could counter a Tybalt activation while bringing in a flash guy. It is a soul shatter as well. That's pretty good. Ooh, you didn't hit a land though. You need a 7th land for Mascot Exhibition, but to be honest, yeah, I mean, you really want to hold that Agadoomsdid, but you're going to have to go to discard if you don't play it. I mean, it's not as if you're playing Mascot Exhibition next turn anyway. You just have to... You're pretty much forced to play Soul Shatter, so... You would have plenty of time to draw that 7th land, but you actually need 7 mana for next turn anyway, right? You need to be able to Soul Shatter and get the Amalgam in play. But that one skipped turn has just completely changed this game again. Like, the liar is like very unimpressive in this game though, right? Like you're not... There's just nothing to rebuy at all. It has stopped the counter spells. I mean, the no counters is the most like relevant part of the liar this game. We're not getting too much. Wow, we've got a Smork. We have a Faceless Haven Smork. That's pretty juicy. Yeah, this Dimir deck is like sick against... Its creatures are really resilient to like Fading Hopes and stuff and Divide by Zeros. Apart from the Hullbreak Horror or whatever it's called. That does not like getting bounced, but you still want to play it, I think. Alright, so at least Tybalt is dying. Tybalt is dead. That's good. This Meathook Massacre is just gonna, like... It's just gonna drain for enough damage to win, right? Eventually. Pest Summoning gets you a little bit of life, which is quite nice, but I mean, it doesn't actually get you any life, because when they die, you gain a life, but when they die, you lose a life, so... At least it gives you some blocks that don't cost life. You could counter this, right? I think it's good. I mean, you can't counter a spell with the Amalgam, you've got to counter an ability, so... The Tybalt's dead, that seems like a good one to counter. Well, well, well. Why did they just give up their lyre? For a blood on the snow? Just the okay, opponent got bored. Opponent saw a card in their hand, wanted to cast it, so just decided to do it. That was actually very bad, I think, by the way. That is not worth it. That's an Infernal Grasp. That is an Infernal Grasp. Okay. Okay. So you've got to try and kill the lyre, right? While there's no blue mana. You've got to kill the lyre. That turns on your counter spells. It also turns on the opponent's test of talents, though, which is a very interesting situation. I think you can play Infernal Grasp, but you need some blockers too for the Haven Grasp, Jadar, or Grasp, Pest Summoning. And you've got 3 mana left over. It's not enough, right? You need the Syncopate and the Stroke, but you need to make blockers. But you also have to kill this fucking lyre. Unless you're willing, maybe you're willing to just take 4 from the Haven. And you just don't play the Pest Summoning yet. Test of Talents is in the grave. No, Test of Talents is from Tybalt Plus, I think. And the Jawari Disruption is in the grave. I think. So you could kill Lyre and counter this Umbral Duke, right? That would leave you with 3 cards in play. Your opponent's drawing 1. Yeah, so that would leave you with only 3 cards in hand, which is quite good against that draw spell, right? Because then it's only going to be able to draw 2 cards instead of 3. You don't have Stroke for 1 turn. Monka Giga. You're also on 6 life, man. You're on 6 life with this meat hook just like draining your ass. That's a block, man. It has to be a block. It has to be a block. You can't go to 2 with meat hook in play. It has to be a block. Next turn you've got Mascot Exhibition. You go to block, you go to 5. And then you've got Mascot Exhibition and Stroke. And you just try and close the game. You can't go to 2, man. You're dead to 2 removal spells. You cannot go to 2. Got to block. Block, go to 5. Mascot Exhibition, hold up Stroke. Following turn you've got Hive Attack. You've got Hive Attack and Pest Summoning and Stroke. But you need a land for that. Alright, chat. We are trying to close this game. Oh, the hook works the other way around. Dude, it's like the hook is so confusing, man. I must have cast that card about 100 times and I still don't know what drains, what deals damage and what gains life. I don't think I'll ever learn. Okay. That is a block with 3-2. Easy. Easy block. Yep. Okay. Haven down. What's this? 11 damage in play? That'll probably get the test of talents, right? The dispute, I would imagine? No. No test of talents, huh? Alright. Okay. Okay. I think I can win this game, guys. 3, 5, 7, 9 mana for opponent. So if opponent has a Bud on the Snow with Test of Talents backup, you can just order. Or you can stroke, force the Test of Talents, and then you can just horror Village Rites, bounce that something. Okay, I mean that's fine, right? I don't think you want the Village Rites that, man. You need to save your Village Rites so that it can be used as a spell with the horror. Okay, Eliphas does not give a fuck. He wants his cards. Rewarded with 2 lands. Okay. I block your 4-3 with my 7-8. Yeah, see, now you can't cast the horror, right? Because you don't have that Village Rites to protect it, man. It's like scuffed. That was that Field of Ruin was too early, man. It was too early. It was too early. I block. I mean, looks good, guys. Looks good. Stroke and wash away. The timing on the Field of Ruin actually deciding the match. Wow. Kind of Pepega that you can't stroke that, huh? I think you have to. You should bounce your own amalgam, right? Oh wait, it doesn't really matter. You can just play Pest Summoning and bounce the Valky. Oh yeah, it's fine. GG's. Pest Summoning lethal. Alright. We made hard work of it, chat. But Eliphas wins a prize. Top 32, 1,000 gems secured, playing for more. You could have bounced Inscription or Amalgam or did what he did. I think pretty much everything was fine. Alright, GG's, and thank you, Eliphas, for stepping in there and showing your game. I appreciate it. We're into the match. We find ourselves inside the match. It's a little bit 24p, but I'm sure it'll fix itself eventually. Innkeeper, Fade and Hope, Decisive Denial, Cultivator. Okay, I mean that hand's pretty good against most decks. It's nothing special against mono white though. Alright, Jamal, what's your hand, man? Let's see it. What's your hand, Jamal? Aspirant, Sentinel, and the Scout, the 3-1. Basima, huh? That's kind of sick. Omen Keel into Innkeeper attack with the Omen Keel? Maybe hit some lands? Yeah, multi-5 for mono white is tough. Sentinel's quite nice here to offer a block on the Omen Keel though. I mean, you have to block it, right? You have to block it. I feel like maybe that Innkeeper... yeah. Alright, so you're hoping to hit some landos here, please? We'll take some lands. Got a land. Good enough. Dude, that's sick, man. Innkeeper plus Omen Q? That is sick. Now, like, mono white just already has, like, kind of no blocks. You can pump your Usher with Aspirant, it's not bad, but... Went for the Sentinel, that's kind of interesting. I think I would have played the Aspirant there and pumped the Usher. That Omen Q seems like sick, man. it is a forced block, like... There's no way you can let that thing just keep hitting you. That's crazy, right? It killed the mono white player's 2-drop and got a land. And dealt 3 damage. Three fours like quite chunky on this board too. Now you've just got Emergent Sequence 2/2. Won't get a life from the Innkeeper with that, sadly, but you've got Deluge and Counterspell up. The adversary for 4 is quite nice. Adeline is quite nice too. I mean, you have to go Adeline, right? Adeline first and then set up to use your Scout next turn. You might lose Usher to the block from the Innkeeper, but like in an ideal world, you would like to play the Scout first before the Adeline, but I just don't think you have the time here as the white player. You have to go Adeline first. That's what they do. Okay, guess you don't lose your Usher if you do this. You can just. Looks like they're going to pump the Usher and attack with both of the Ushers. I was thinking maybe pump the Aspirant and attack with everything. Because, I mean, you don't mind trading your Usher for an Innkeeper, right? Wren, Scout Swarm, Cultivator. Very interesting choices, chat. So Scoot Swarm and Cultivator are pretty sick, but you would need to top deck a land, which you didn't. Okay. Yeah, now the adversary is just like insane, right? These ushers are 4/3s now. You're kinda forced to attack with everything, so pumping the usher doesn't seem to achieve too much. Yeah. Bit of a punish for not like buffing the usher last turn has now basically cost them an aspirant attack here. Because they could have buffed the aspirant last turn instead, and then they could buff the aspirant again this turn. It would be a 4/4. It could attack into this board, along with everything else, obviously. And now you're just only attacking with your Adeline, which is like your best creature hand. It's really, really rough. I guess the Simic player can block the Adeline with the 7/7, and then you can fight the adversary, right? Really sad for the white player to lose their Adeline here, but at least they got to kill the token. Alright, now you've got Ren Plus with Innkeeper and Scoot Swarm. Yep, Innkeeper first, Scoot Swarm land. And you're going off, man. You're going off. No, wait, order! Absolute -2 life. Innkeeper, you could have got Innkeeper Treasure, right? You've got this, the Emergent Sequence land plus the Innkeeper Treasure. What do you mean he didn't have mana for 3? They do. They had 7 mana, right? They had 7 mana, they want to cast 8 mana worth of spells, and the Innkeeper gets them a treasure. 7 plus 1 equals 8. I mean, the mono white deck can try and fight through these swarms, but I mean the Wren has to die, dude. I just don't think they can kill the Wren in time before the swarm gets too wide. Yeah, they're just willing to like blow every other creature to keep the swarms going. Which is fair. And now you've just got Innkeeper, land, and a 7 mana Deluge. Yeah, this is a game 2, man. These Scoot Swarms are now officially unbeatable. Alright, game 2. The Scoot Swarm. Is Scoot Swarm the answer to mono white? Like, it actually might be. You can fly over the Scout Swarm with mono white with like your Spellbinders and your Redains and stuff, but like Scout Swarm goes well in the same deck as like Ren and Seven and stuff like that, right? So it's not as if a Scout Swarm deck has no answer to flyers. And that's like really the only way to beat them is to go over them. And you don't even get a lot of time to go over them, right? It's not as if the Scout Swarm deck is giving you endless turns to attack with these flyers. The Scout Swarms are also growing at the same time and threatening to swing back. So the white player doesn't seem to be changing too much. They don't have a great answer to Scout Swarm, man. Maybe there's just no answer in the colours. Redain Artifact, I guess, is quite nice, but only if there's no way in the Simic deck to actually pump the Scout Swarms, and honestly, I'm not sure that even matters, right? Like, the Simic deck doesn't have to attack with the Scout Swarm to win. They just have to stop. They just have to use the Scout Swarm to stop them dying, and then they've got plenty of other big creatures. They've got the Avabrick guy too, right? They've got the AoE buff, who's obviously he's sick, but or she is sick. Get really like kind of rough start for a Simic player here because their blue source is tapped for this Fade and Hope. Rushing the Innkeeper, but you're probably going for a Spellbinder. Apparition Innkeeper feels like it does nothing. It lets you attack with the Usher, but I think you're happy to Spellbinder, take a look at the hand, and then you can decide whether you want to trade the Usher or not, given the opponent's hand. Attack first, that I disagree with. I think that's bad. You're making the opponent make their block decision with less information because they don't know that you've played the Spellbinder, but I don't think that actually affects the decision in any way. Attacking first just is doing nothing really than letting them make the decision, right? Whereas if you play the Spellbinder first, you get to make the decision on the attacks and box. What do you take with a Spellbinder, though? That's the question. The Huntmaster, huh? No land, guys. No land. And these are two, like, bad bounce targets. The Sentinel, I mean... you're not going to cry about bouncing a Sentinel, but you're not happy about it. Doesn't really achieve anything. Alright, chat. Simic, Volrath needs a land. Dude, Volrath needs like 4 lands in a row. Maybe 4 is excessive, but you need 3. Just dead, right? Dead. You bounce the Sentinel, they replay it. Okay, I guess you bounce the Haven now, right? Because they've already played a land this turn. opponent kinda fucked up there by playing the land first. Like, that's really bad. Because now they're only threatening lethal with 2 creatures where they could have had a guaranteed, like, triple attack and they would be dead. It's actually gonna... It's gonna buy the Simic player a turn here. Playing that Plains first. Oh no, wait, the other land's a Frost Dragon. Okay, never mind. They had to play it. Never mind. This is I think... it's game 3. No, it's not game 3. Not yet. Getting close though. Excuse me. I don't know how Simic Boy wins this game. So you've got to fight the Spellbinder, kill the Flyer. If you get a land with your Scoot Swarm. It's not going to be enough, right? But I obviously... obviously the mono white player has just like a shitload of lands, so they can just play land attack with the dragon land. Even if that was Scoot Swarm into land, but yeah. I think even if they got Scoot Swarm land there, I'm not sure that there's even any hand that mono white could have that the Simic player could even survive a turn against, never mind beat. Alright, game 3. Getting to be on the play is like a massive difference for a deck like Simic Ramp though. Just an enormous difference. The mono white actually has a maul as well, which is pretty good for flying over these Scoot Swarms if they ever get out of control. Alright, game 3 chat. How are we feeling? I think the Simic deck has a great chance in this matchup, man. The Simic deck looks nice. Against mono white specifically. It should be okay against mono green, honestly, too, I would imagine. Being on the play here for game 3 is absolutely massive for their chances to win. I mean, you have some lands. You can ramp to 4 on turn 3. Kept it. I mean, Consuming Tide, huh? It's an interesting card. The mono white went for this. Does the sequence dodge Portable Hole? It can't be hold, right? This Spellbinder is like brutal, man. Brutal. What does Consuming Tide say? Is it non-lands? So your emergent sequence also dodges it? Is that right? That's kind of a combo. Doesn't get bounced? So if you're Consuming Tide with a emergent sequence land in play, you can keep the land in play and another permanent. Which is quite cool. Okay, so Vampire, Usher, mono white card draw coming through. But you probably keep the vampire in play, right? Or maybe the aspirant, actually. You can just play the vampire and another creature next turn to redraw, and you're getting to smork for 4. Or maybe you keep the spellbinder. Keep the spellbinder, play vampire, apparition, and then pump the spellbinder. Although you did just draw a Adeline, which is an incredibly relevant creature. Chat, I can't lie to you, man. This looks horrible for the Simic player. This looks horrible. They are probably taking 6 this turn. Going to 4 with just nothing to do. Yep. That's a -6. Okay. Fading Hope, huh? Just not enough though, man. It ain't enough. Although, I mean, the white player has to attack with the Haven. You've still got a portable hold too, huh? GG's. We cursed the Simic ramp player, guys. Top 32 lost to Mono White. Mono White progresses. GG's, well played all. Well played all. Alright, another hero bites the dust, chat. What heroes do we have remaining? Mono White makes it into the top 16, beating Mono Green. Boros Aggro takes out the Geist Gamer. It's a Sag, although I like both of those decks. Azorius Control, the last remaining control player, I think. Oh, no, we've got one Dimir Control. Mono Green knocks out. So we've got Mono Green, Boros, Mono Green, Mono White wins over Mono Green. Mono White wins the mirror. Selesnya Humans beat the other Dimir Control. Mono Green beats Vampires. Humans beats Orzhov Control. Dimir Control beat Mono White. And Eliphas won on his Dimir Tempo against Mono White. Alright, chat. There's one Gandalf left, man. One Gandalf remains. And they're about to face Fogo Norabo. Mate, you're about to face a gauntlet of Chads trying to take you out. You're the last hope for the Gandalfs. Eliphas made it through on tempo, which is cool. Alright, so what? We have Boros Aggro, Selesnya Humans, ×2, and Dimir Tempo as our last remaining rogue decks. There's no Izzet decks. I can't believe no Izzet decks made it this far, man. Insane. The Gandalfs just actually have no shot. Unplayable, guys. Gandalf is absolutely unplayable. So our top 16 is going to be Mono White Aggro, Mono Green Aggro, Mono White and Mono Green put together into aggro, and a Dimir Tempo. There's your meta. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. We only some of the quality of the streams when you're streaming from Discord is obviously not ideal, but you can at least still follow the matches. And there was only one round that was like proper scuffed, and in 4 rounds we got some good matches. I will see you guys tomorrow for day 2. Ecuador! Ecuador!